What is going on, my friends? Fox here, FXRC, and I have the Typhon TLR Tuned Race Ready Roller. Uh, so all you have to do is put your electronics in, and you're good to go. Well, I don't know if that's necessarily the case, but look at it. It is pretty cool. This is, I guess, the brainchild of ARRMA and Losi, with them being under the same umbrella horizon. It kind of does make sense that they would do something like this. Although I was kind of hoping for a Typhon EXB. So I hope we still kind of get one, but this thing is definitely awesome. And like I said, it really makes sense that they would do something like this. So pretty cool little thing. There's some stuff on here that ARRMA has never done before. I say ARRMA because even though this is a TLR tuned buggy Typhon, it's still a Typhon. So all of the parts on here are all for Typhons, and in theory can be put on your other Typhon. So these are Typhon parts that were, designed by Losi, some of them anyway. So pretty cool little endeavor here. So they did a really good job with this. I'm sure it's going to perform fairly well on the track. So definitely exciting little buggy. So let's get into it. I do want to talk about one thing you get in the box, because you really don't get much besides the roller. But you do get is this little pamphlet right here, the instruction manual. Now, what's the big deal? It's just an instruction manual. We've all seen one of those before. This is an incredibly in-depth manual on not only how to install every single aspect of your electronics, like just every right down to the T, but also how to tune everything about this buggy. Literally every little aspect, it tells you how to tune it, and then even goes into like cause and effect of the different things that you're tuning. Absolutely very detailed. If you knew absolutely nothing about electric buggies, and you could read this little pamphlet book, and you would have a really good start. So that is an awesome thing that they put in there. I'm really glad to see that. So it kind of makes this kind of good for beginners in a way, because if you didn't know anything and you got this, wanted to get something a little bit better than a ready to run, you could get this, and then you would have this, would tell you everything you need to know. Pretty cool. And now for the star of the show. And I guess I will start with the body, this beautiful purple and pink and white body. I feel like it's a compromise between the Losi colors and the ARRMA colors, and it's kind of like in between, like just like they had to compromise on the colors, and this is kind of what they went with. It's definitely a nice looking little buggy, very sharp. I should be able to see this at a distance very well. Uh, as far as like the graphics, all of that paint, that looks really good. They did a great job on the stickers, actually. Some of the best stickers. They have very little bubbles, and just lined up very well. Some of these on the back here are hard to line up good, so they did a really good job. However, not so good on the cutting. It's definitely a rough cut job. I would think these would be laser cut or something, but they look really rough on some of the body cuts. So besides that, pretty good. And then there is the wing. Look at this. This is a typical Losi style wing with the added diffusers here. You can turn it around and create drag, and a very tunable wing. Um, it's about as flexible, I would say. Maybe not even as quite as the stock Typhon, and definitely not quite as flexible as some of my other race buggies wings. I'm not sure how it's going to hold up, but we will see. Like I said, it's an incredibly tunable wing, so really good for the track. Aluminum wing buttons. These are stock, you guys. This came on at the buggy, aluminum wing buttons. That's something ARRMA has never done before, so that's pretty cool. This has the high wing mount, not the low profile wing mount that the Typhon typically has, as you can see. And it's very adjustable. You can actually drop it down a few millimeters. or you can turn it around to bring the wing back a little bit if you so desire. So it is an incredibly tunable wing setup. Very cool. And then there is the tires. These are definitely new from ARRMA, and it is a very basic, square pin design. Should be good in most conditions, on most surfaces. Kind of a good all-around little tire square pin design there. I believe these are the same rims as the old Typhons, which rocks always get stuck in these things, and I never crazy about them because just like I said, the rocks always get jammed in there somehow, for some reason. Now let's see what is under the body. Would you look at that? Absolutely beautiful little buggy. Now, yes, this is slightly modified. I really can't help it, I guess, but not out of necessity, like this thing was somehow lacking, but because I'm going to bash the absolute living shit out of this, and I want to give the chassis and some of the other parts the absolute best chance possible and to survive. So I did do some modifications, but besides the modifications, talking just about the actual TLR parts, are going to be these beautiful 7075 aluminum shock towers in this absolutely gorgeous titanium-ish finish in the rear as well as the front. Beautiful. And it's got all of these inserts in the front here, so you can completely adjust the upper pin there. And it also has the inserts for the rear, for the upper rear also. Pretty cool. Now, all of the suspension hangers are all aluminum, but they are not 7075. I don't believe so anyway, because they just say they are aluminum. I believe if they were 7075, they would say they were. But still, really, really cool. And with all the inserts, it is incredibly an adjustable system. Really cool, and in theory should work with just about most of the ARRMA chassis because they're fairly universal. The chassis is all 7075 aluminum, beautifully etched on the bottom. Look at that. Not gonna hold up very long, but looks really nice, and it has all of the cutouts on the inside. Look at all that beautiful chassis, making this by far the absolute nicest chassis ARRMA has ever made. It has to be. It's gorgeous, you guys. And I do say ARRMA because even though it's a TLR tuned chassis, shock towers and stuff, these are ARRMA parts, you guys. These are all for Typhon. So it's a Typhon chassis. In theory, I could put this chassis on my other Typhon. So these are ARRMA parts. And like I said, this is some of the nicest stuff that's come out of the ARRMA camp for sure. Really, what else is a TLR? So they actually have bearings in the steering assembly. This is the first time ARRMA has ever done that in any of their rigs. It's always bushings. Really cool to see that. What else? They made it a point to get rid of all of the red anodizing, so including the shocks. There are all now these beautiful black anodized shocks with the TLR tuned etching. And really, besides that, they have the beveled pistons on the inside, and that's about it. They're ARRMA shocks that are black with some beveled pistons, so not much change there. ARRMA has really good suspension anyway. I would have expected a more race shock cap, something like bladderless. I'm not surprised that they didn't because there's already quite a bit on here that ARRMA has never done before. So for them to maybe design a whole new shock cap was probably too much. There's plenty of aftermarket. M2C makes one that would work great on this. So that's really, it got the 7075 ARRMA there, steering plate, ARRMA bar, all 7075 aluminum, but pretty cool. I want to say, got these absolutely stunning mud flaps. Look at that. Just wonderfully designed. Just the way they tuck right into under the body. Very nice, very cool. little mufflers. And like I said, in theory, I mean, should be able to put these right on any Typhon, or really anything that uses these A-arms. So pretty cool. What else? I think that's about really it for like the TLR tuned stuff, I guess. You know, it's the 7075 parts, the black anodizing, the bevel pistons, and then all of the aluminum suspension hangers that are fully adjustable, as well as the 7075 chassis, the mud flaps, the rear wing. So, and that's about it really for what they kind of did to make it a race ready roller. I do say race ready kind of loosely because you probably do want to go through these. I found my differentials were all lacking in fluid, as well as a few of my shocks. So it's probably a good idea. You don't know who's putting these things together, so not a bad idea to go through it yourself. Let's see, what else? I'm going to take these off and get a better look at some of the stuff that I did. Let's get these wheels off. I just have them on there kind of finger tight, so I can get them off pretty easy. One and a two. Come on off, buddy. There we go. And you can see what I was talking about with these wheels. All these little things, the rocks get jammed right up in there. Sometimes they're even pretty hard to get out. That's why I've just never really been a fan of these wheels, but I'm sure they'll be a good tire anyway, so not too shabby. As you can see, I did have the Hot Racing steering blocks, as well as the rear hubs, all aluminum with the carbon fiber. I put these on all of my ARRMAs. Absolutely love them. It just kind of, for a racing scenario on a racetrack, this is probably definitely not necessary. The composite ones are going to be more than enough, although these aluminum ones are super, super nice. You get the oversized bearing on the inside. You get the added strength of the aluminum, because with the composite ones, especially the steering block, you get a good, nice hard hit. These balls pull right out of that hub, and then after that, it will continue to do so very easily. So it becomes a huge pain in the ass. That's why I just always, right out the gate, just kind of upgraded these, and looks so nice. Let's see what else. I have obviously the M2C chassis bracing that you can see in there. I cannot have an ARRMA without some kind of M2C on it. The composite ones for a track setting would be more than sufficient. Most race buggies have just composite chassis bracing. You really want that flex. It gives you better traction in most surfaces and most tracks. So you really kind of want that flex, but because I'm going to bash the ever-living shit out of this thing, I want to give the chassis as much chance as possible to survive. So I got these beautiful M2C 7075 aluminum chassis bracing. Let's see what else. I have the aluminum servo horn. This does come with a 23T aluminum servo horn, but I don't use anything 23T. I'd almost rather them give you two plastic servo horns that gave you a choice than the 23T aluminum that you're just not going to use. So, not that a plastic servo horn would be any better, I guess, really, but at least you'd have options on the servo you want to use. But anyway, so I have this beautiful Hot Racing one. You can see I did add the red in there a little bit, but I love these. They're specifically designed for these ARRMAs. They fit in perfect and just line up great. So I put them in all of them. Hot Racing makes these obviously, but Power Hobby just started making almost the exact copy of this for a little bit of less money. I haven't actually tried it, but I just always go with the Hot Racing. I have the Hot Racing center differential holder, or center. It's not really a bulkhead, so I don't know what the hell, but it's all aluminum. So you can see I did add the red aluminum as well as the cover. And I tell you what, you guys, once again, this is something I do to all my ARRMAs, and it really eliminates any flex in the actual motor mount itself, like, and really keeps that mesh perfect. And I guess in turn would make your pinions and your spur gear last a lot longer if there's no movement in between and changing things. So anyway, all aluminum center. And then of course, aluminum bulkheads by Hot Racing. This is the full bulkhead with the cover as well as the sway bar mount. You can kind of see the Hot Racing right there a little bit. Beautiful. As well as in the rear. You can see beautiful Hot Racing bulkhead with the cover and the sway bar mount. I love doing this to all my ARRMAs. The composite one, bulkhead, once again, is incredibly strong, and for a race scenario would be more than sufficient. But once again, I'm going to bash the shit out of this. The aluminum ones are just far stronger. You do need to add some shims. They give you shims in the kit, actually. They have been giving these with all the ARRMAs, so you can shim it properly to get a perfect mesh. The composite ones didn't have any shims in them at all. I had to add 2 for these Hot Racing ones, so 2 to each. Oh wait, maybe it was only 1 actually. Anyway, what else? Let's see, let's talk about some electronics. This is a Hobbywing XR8 6S capable, fully censored race ESC. Absolutely awesome. It's basically a Max 8 that's censored. And then I have used this a few times now in some of my race buggies, and it's a really good little ESC. I have that paired with a Hobbywing 2250 kV, high kV. This is the G3 motor, 42, what is it? Yeah, 4274 motor. Absolutely gorgeous motor. Look at this. So this has got to be one of the nicest looking motors I've ever seen. It's just all one solid piece of aluminum on the top there, and just it's got all the cutouts and just to keep it cool, and absolutely gorgeous motor. Here's a cool little thing. See that hold your wires. You know your wires go through there. You just drill a little hole in the top. Once you do that, you put the wires in. Put an M3 screw in there, and then your wire's not going to come out. And for my servo, I have a ProTech 170 SBL Black Label. Not actually, this was my intended use for this, was for my Techno EB 48 2.0. But because of the servo mount in the Techno and the removable plug on the ProTech servo, I could not get it to work without severely modifying the Techno servo mount, so I saved this servo for something else. And it should be awesome in this, more than enough power, more than enough speed for this application. I have this on my Spectrum DX5 Pro, and I think I just got a 2-channel receiver. It actually has 3, but there's only 2 usable channels and 1 maybe for a fan. I may put fan on this in the future. I have a 14-tooth pinion on it right now by Techno, and I do think for sure Techno makes some of the absolute best pinions, especially these smaller pinions, smaller Mod 1 pinions, that is, that you can buy. They're just amazing pinions. So 14-tooth pinion, and I gear it moderately because I really try not to use a fan if I don't have to. If I can run this and keep good temp and have good speed and good power and all that stuff without having a fan and without this thing getting too hot, then that's ideal, you guys. Because just adding the fans just adds more problems. So if it stays cool enough without it, that's great. And really, that's about it, you guys. Like I said, I really didn't have to upgrade too much on this because there's quite a bit already done. On all of these, on all the actual end ball studs here, you can see down there, is actually steel now. This one had the composite one stock. I'm surprised because ARRMA does make the steel ones. So why they wouldn't have put this on a race buggy, which all race buggies are going to have these all be steel like these ones here, made by ARRMA. This is part number if you want it. Anytime I start a new ARRMA build, I will put these on, or anytime I'm working on one of my ARRMAs that doesn't have it yet, I will add it on because I bought a shitload of them. So Anyway, not the composite ones are okay. They hold up pretty good actually. They'll split if you tighten them too much, but for the most part they're okay. And I think that's about it for all of my upgrades and electronics. What a badass little buggy, you guys. Let's see what she's gonna look like with some different tires. Bam! Look at that buggy. Came out pretty nice, you guys. Look at those tires on there. Trugified without being trugified. This is possible because of the offset on these tires are pretty incredible. So it looks like it actually worked too, and they're not gonna rub. So I'm definitely gonna have to try these out. These are the Badland MX 2.8 HP. These are the belted, and you can see the offset on them is pretty deep. This is actually the only 17 millimeter offset you can get for these 2.8s. They do make a different offset for the 12 millimeters. I think even maybe for the 14 millimeters, but not for the 17. So I'm surprised, but it does seem like it's gonna work. So look at that thing, looks sick, you guys. This is gonna be an animal. Cannot wait to get this thing out. Sexy. So once again, thank you guys so much for watching. My name's Fox. This is FXRC. This was the first look at my ARRMA Typhon TLR Tuned little race ready roller buggy. Austin's gonna be badass. Cannot wait. Thank you guys. Peace. And of course, here are the part numbers to everything I put in. All of my upgrades. So those are all the bulkheads, the pinion, all of the, I got the RPM skid plate on the bottom there, as those balls mounts, all the aluminum rear center differential cover, the steering block, rear hubs. You see all at the aluminum servo horn. So all of the part numbers, the M2C bracing, part numbers, opinion. So feel free to pause it and order it if you need it. Once again, thank you guys so much for joining me. Peace.